Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about why you're poor, or at least why you're poor by your standards, why you think you're poor, okay? There's so many burdens that can be over you and stuff like that. And then we're going to talk about how to get rid of those burdens by a little magical thing called a budget, okay? So, we're going to start off with talking about what is a budget, right? A budget is basically just you being able to plan for every dollar you have. You know every dollar that you're earning, you know where every dollar you're spending. You know all of it, right? It's not magic, it's not a miracle, it's just a plan, right? So the first thing that we're going to have to do is figure out your after-tax income, right? So your gross income per month is what your, not your take-home pay, but what you're earning before taxes and things are taken out, before savings and health insurance and all that stuff, 401k, retirement, right? So your after-tax income is after you subtract all those things and you figure out what your actual take-home pay is, right? How much money you're actually bringing home every check, every week, every other week, every month, right? We need to figure that out first, and then we can go on from there. Because as soon as we figure that out, we're going to move on to choosing a budgeting plan. Okay? Any budget you have has to cover all your needs, some of your wants, right? And the big thing is you're saving for emergencies and the future, right? Some examples of budgeting, you can have the zero-based budget, saving first, spending first. Of course, you have the no budget, right? If you're here, right? Some of the bigger ones, the 50-30-20 rule budget, the envelope system budget, whatever it is, you just need to pick one that works for you, and you need to use it as best as possible, right? Another thing that you need to do, track your progress, right? There's plenty of tools online or apps, or you can make a spreadsheet, like however you feel comfortable doing it. You just need to do it. Track it, right? Your needs, your wants, anything else, right? Any extra things that you want to do, Christmas's presents, Valentine's presents, trips you want to take, anything like that. So, your needs, food, electricity, gas, your phone, internet, car insurance, renter's insurance, mortgage, all of it. All of it. Wants, eating out. That's a want, not a need, right? That's why the grocery store is under need, because you need to go to the grocery store, right? It'll be cheaper. Most likely it'll be better food, right? Boom. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about automatic savings. So if you have a bank account, which I'm sure the majority of you do, some people don't actually open a savings account with their bank account, or with their checking account. So what I like to do is set up my savings account to automatically the Monday after I get paid. So like I get paid on a Friday, the following Monday I automatically transfer money from my checking account to my savings account. Now, if you're to save $10 a week, every week, that's $520 a year. $25 a week, that's $1,300 a year. $50 a week, that's $2,600 a year, right? And this is before interest. Maybe you earn 1/4%, 0.5%, or up to 1%, right? So this is that. Of course, interest isn't going to be that much, but just so you understand, like $50 a week is you not going to Starbucks every day, right? I mean, that for a lot of people, that's what that is. I know a lot of people who go to Starbucks 5-6 times a week, and it's $12. Like, it's just $12. I'm like, yeah, but you're spending up to $75 a week at Starbucks, man. Like, that's a lot of money. So we need to automatic that savings, put it in that account, let it earn interest, and save. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 50-30-20 budgeting rule, right? Now, 50% are your needs, okay? Housing, which is your mortgage or your rent, your food, right, which is groceries, not going out to eat food, staying home and cooking food, right? Transportation, maybe you don't have a license and you have to Uber everywhere, or you live in the city and it's not, it's not the best to have a car in the city because, I can't imagine driving around in New York, right? Your bills and utilities, right? Your bills include, your phone, your internet, insurance for your vehicle, your truck note, car note, whatever you're driving, right? And then your wants. That's going out to eat. That's buying those new clothes. That's going to see that new movie. That's taking that weekend trip, to wherever it is to see your friends, right? You need to learn how to save for each thing and take care of each thing. I don't want to say independently of each other because, it's one big budgeting rule, but if you can't save up enough for your needs, how are you ever going to do the things that you want to do, right? If you're struggling to pay rent and buy food, you're never going to be able to get those new clothes, right? And if you're never taking care of your savings and stuff like that, you're always going to live paycheck to paycheck, right? And we don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. That sounds awful, right? So, after we figure out what type of plan you want to do, which I recommend most people start off with the 50-30-20 rule, right? That's just what I recommend. It's the easiest thing to do, right? We're going to move into what or how you should prioritize the things you should be doing. So the first thing that we're going to prioritize, you're going to start an emergency fund, right? The bare bones emergency fund of at least $500, just enough to cover really small emergencies and repairs, right? But we'll build it from there with that automatic savings account we were talking about earlier, right? My savings account is my emergency fund, right? Automatically put that money in there, just let it build. If I need to touch it, I touch it, but I don't want to touch it. Leave it there, right? And I promise you, you'll sleep better knowing that if something happens, your glasses break, right? Or something happens to your car, and you open up that bank account, look in that savings account, and you'll go, okay, I've got $1,500. This isn't a big deal. You're going to sleep better knowing that money's there, right? So the second thing we're going to prioritize is hopefully you have employer matching on a 401k. Now, I realize a lot of people aren't going to have this, but if you do have this, your goal would be to max out employer matching. For example, where I work, it's 5% employee matching. So, as long as I put in at 5%, employee matching is 5%. If I put in 10%, they still only match 5%. So I want to hit at least 5% right now to maximize my employer matching, right? And just think, for every $1,000 you don't put away, say, in your 20s, that could be 20, 30, or more $1,000, right? $20,000 to $30,000 less you have at retirement, right? It's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money. We can't joke about that. Priority number 3, we're going to get rid of that toxic debt. Toxic debt, bad debt, these are going to be the high interest debts that we have. Credit card debt, personal loans, payday loans, title loans, rent to own payments, right? Any interest rates that are just unbelievably high, right? We need to get rid of those, right? Because if you take a loan, say, let's say you have a credit card and it's 24% interest rate, right? And you spend $2,000. You could end up spending $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, right? Paying back that loan because you're only paying minimum payments, right? And you're thinking to yourself, oh, I just spent $2,000. I make $4,000 a month. And that's going to be easy to pay back. But when you're paying back those minimum loans, realistically, it's not going anywhere. You're just paying just enough to pay back 95% interest and then 5% on the actual $2,000 you spent. It will take you years to pay that back. We need to get rid of that as quickly as possible. Okay? The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go back to that retirement account. Now the goal is going to be 15% of your gross income. Right? This will be 15% of the money you make before deductions. Right? But this, if you have employer matching, this is going to include that company match. So like I said earlier, if I'm paying 5% in and my company matches 5%, That's 10%. All I need to do is put in another 5%, and I'll hit that 15% gross income. Okay. If you're young, you can consider funding a Roth IRA after the company match. Once you hit the contribution limit on the IRA, you go back to your 401k and maximize contributions there. I think it's like 6,500 is the contribution limit currently. So you'd put 6,500 in that account, and then you'd go back to putting as much money as possible in that 401k, right? Then we're gonna move on to the next one, which is we're gonna go back to that emergency fund. So you've got that $500. Well, now the goal is going to be 3 to 6 months of living expenses, right? And you shouldn't expect this to just shoot up really quickly now that you don't have any debt. I mean, it should go up pretty good, but you never know what's going to happen. Maybe you do actually have an emergency happen. Let's say you saved up like $3,000 and something happened to your car, boom, $1,000. And then maybe it takes you 2 months to make that money back, right? And in the process, your glasses break, another couple $100. Your dog gets sick, another couple $100, right? Your kid, gets sick or something, another couple $100. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. So don't think it's just going to shoot up. I mean, I hope it does. I hope you save a lot of money, right? But that's not always going to be the case, right? You just need to manage it. So the reason why we say 3 to 6 months is because it really depends on how well you think you can get a new job today if you got fired, right? So if you got fired today, do you think it would take you 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or 6 months to get a new job? So it really depends on you. Personally, I like to save for 6 months, even though I don't think I'm going to ever lose my job, right? Because I just think, like, I've been hurt before, and I know that while I was hurt, I wasn't making nearly as much money as I was. I was on workman's comp, so I was making 65% of my normal pay, which is nice, but a lot of people don't have that. Imagine if you got hurt and couldn't go to work and you're making nothing. I mean, you really need to figure out, how much money you want to save, right? And then work towards it. And that's of living expenses. Everything you require to pay your bills and live, right? So then we're going to move on to your debt repayment. Now, these are going to be like your good debts. This is going to be, you were paying minimum on these, and now you're going to pay them off as quickly as possible, right? This is going to be your lower rate stuff. A lot of these are tax deductible debts a lot of times, like your mortgage, right? And you should only tackle these after you've gotten everything else taken care of, right? And any wiggle room you have here comes from the money available for the wants or savings on your necessities, right? You don't want to touch your emergency fund and retirement savings. You still want to meet those requirements, right? So you're going to pay off your mortgage, you're going to pay off your car loan, you're going to take care of all that stuff, and we're going to get rid of all the debt you have now. We got rid of your credit card debt and stuff earlier, right? Now we're getting rid of your car loans and your mortgages, right? Now, if you're renting, obviously a mortgage doesn't apply to you. If you do own a home and you have a mortgage, clearly. So we're going to take care of everything else. Then we're going to make sure you're not touching your emergency fund. You're still putting that 15% gross into your retirement savings, right? And then that's when you pay this off, right? Without touching those things. Now, the last thing is going to be the best thing. Because after you've done all this, you are priority last, right? Now, I'm not putting it last because it's the least important, right? I'm putting it last because you need to make sure you're taking care of everything else first, but you also need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You've done everything you need to do. You've been scraping by. Here's the best part. You've got this habit of savings, and you have just this humongous financial flexibility now. You don't have a car payment. You don't have credit card payments. Maybe you don't have a student loan payment anymore, right? If you were paying, say you had 3 credit cards and you were paying $100 a month on each of those, right? That's $300 a month. And then let's say you had a car loan of $250. That's $550 a month, right? That's $550. Like what? That's a lot of money, right? You're saving so much money now. So $550 a month savings just right there, right? Of course, if you have a mortgage, if you pay off your house, all of a sudden the amount of money you're saving is astronomical. But Now you know you're saving $550, $600 a month. You can put towards other things. Now you can go out. Now you can buy those new clothes. Now you can take that trip. Go to New York. Go to Las Vegas. Go to California. Go to the beach. Have fun. Right? You've earned it. You put in the work. We're there. You've done it. You're set. Right? And this is something you can teach anyone. Anyone can do this. You don't need special skills. You don't need to be mathematically inclined, right? This is just very basic, writing it down, planning it out, and taking care of business like you need to take care of business, right? So what I want to do now is thank everybody for coming in today, watching this video. You didn't have to. Go ahead and like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, or if you did like it, go down and tell me what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. I want to hear from you guys, because this is a new adventure for me as much as it is, for anyone else who's just now coming on the platform, and I want to know what you guys think. I'm sure I did an okay job at some things, a terrible job at other things, and a fantastic job at maybe one or two things. Hopefully more than one or two things. But we'll see. So I want to thank you guys for coming, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. And until then, y'all be safe.